with this bike life, and on this video we are going to be talking about steps on how to tune the Fox Float X2. If you don't know what the Float X2 is, it is a mountain bike shock that has 4-way adjustability. It's got high speed, low speed rebound, and high speed and low speed compression. Very tunable shock, and a very popular shock these days. I've had a couple myself, but we're actually not tuning mine. We're going to be tuning Buddy's that just got his back from service, and we're gonna play around with the settings, get him started. He's got an enduro race he's going to be doing in a couple of weeks, so we're going to make sure that it is working exactly how he wants it for his race and for the rest of the season. So it should be a fun time. And full disclosure, this video, how it started and how it ended, didn't quite match up. I planned to do all of this out in the field. Distractions happened and it didn't quite go to plan. So there's going to be some back and forth between out in the field and here. But the end result was the same, and we'll just talk about all the steps and how we got there. Start there. So what I want to do is I want to try and find...
I'd do more than 160.
Okay. Do 165?
Sure.
Okay. I want to find you 20%, 25% sag.
Okay.
And then we'll set it to factory settings at 25% or at 165 PSI. See how that... Alright, so step one for setting up the shock for our baseline is we wanted to establish our sag. You can go out of your way to try and measure actual rear wheel travel sag, or you can just measure the stroke difference at the shock. You can use like a measuring tape or a set of measuring calipers. You just find the stroke that would be 25 to 30% of the total stroke that you have available, and then you set your air pressure and do it that way. So what we did for step one is we wanted to do 30% run, 30% sag, and then a 25% sag, and then whatever air pressure that it took to get there, we use Fox's settings to do so. So for example, we started at 25% sag, and at about 165 pounds, we started him at the higher end of the click settings, meaning so that would be the faster end because Fox counts them from closed. So if it's 18 clicks, you start at the very closed end and you count 18 clicks, and that would be 16 to 18 was the range for that air pressure, but we set it to 18 because he preferred it a little bit on the faster side, and then we could have adjusted from there. Now, one of the big questions is, does the very end of the range count as a click? And if you were to take Fox at their word, or if you would take Jordy, who does a lot of Fox's tuning for the World Cup guys, the very end of the range is 1 click. So when you make your first actual physical click, that would actually be 2. That's probably up for debate for a lot of people, but that is what we did because that is what he said, and I assume he'd know what he would say. How did that go?
It felt really good. I did go through all my travel.
Okay.
I didn't feel like there was a hard bottom out.
Alright, so after pass 1, this is what we got back from my buddy, is basically felt really smooth, but pretty much used all of his travel. We didn't use any spacers at all. So without wanting to add more air and getting closer to 20% sag, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, we experimented with adding a spacer to see how that would go. Now what a volume spacer would do is basically, as it sounds, it takes up volume in the chamber of your shock, and it adds more progressiveness at the end stroke, meaning it's harder to bottom it out. In his particular shock, we could have added up to 2, but we settled on 1. Actually, 1 is all we had. We maybe could have gone 2, but we just added the 1 just to see how it felt. We didn't change anything else as far as clicks go. We just added a token and we sent him back out at the same air pressure.
He's got 1. Is that the old kind, the rubber banding?
No.
Or that's the clip together one?
The clip together one, yeah.
And the red is just a bumper.
Well, it's a go, no go. It's a do not put any more than this amount. Oh yeah, I mean. We okay? That took a little while. We went and hit that step up on the wall.
Oh, okay.
That felt way better. Way more mid-range support. I did go through like 99% of my travel though. Yeah. So I think I need more high-speed compression.
Yeah, you can. Oh. So after that pass, he came back. He actually said he liked it. We didn't quite see the rubber band on his shock stanchion quite jammed all the way at the end of the stroke. So the spacer actually did its job. It looks like he probably still used between 95 to 100% of his travel on some of those hard compressions. But for the most part, he was pretty much in his usable range. But we tried an experiment to see how it felt. We gave him 3 extra clicks of high-speed compression to see how that felt. Now when you add high-speed compression, what you are doing is you are creating a little bit of resistance by firming up the shims, or basically restricting, making it a little hard for the oil to travel through over the shims. So it does add support, but if you add too much, it can also feel harsh because you're relying on that oil to go back and forth. And if you add too much, it's a little harder to do that. So if you want a very active suspension, I try not to add too much of high-speed compression there. All right, so end result. We started from the faster range of the recommended settings from Fox for about 165 PSI in that shock. We added a volume spacer. We added 3 more clicks of high-speed compression. So meaning, I guess we took, if you were to look at Fox's chart, we took some away. So if we read that he had 18 clicks of high-speed compression, we actually reduced it down to 15. So 15 from close is going to be more high-speed compression in terms of more from open. This is why I wish Fox didn't do this, but the less amount of clicks for Fox, basically the firmer you are making things or the slower you are making things, if you're talking about the rebound side. Another change that we did talking about rebound is we did slow it down a little bit. We gave it 2 extra clicks of rebound, making it a little bit slower. Sorry if this is all confusing. All right, so in closing, again, I just wanted to reiterate, I am not a shock expert. I do like to tinker around a lot, and I like to know, and I like to think that for the most part, I know, what I'm feeling and how to make those adjustments. So just take this as possibly a setup guide on how you could go about setting up your Fox Float X2. And some of these methods can even transition over to other fully adjustable shocks, or even just basic shocks that just have maybe some rebound and, maybe some, compression settings. So, so by no means do you take this as like the expert way to do it, but possibly maybe an easy way or an easier way or a good, step 1 through 4 way to try and get, to your desired settings. If you have any questions or more details about how to tune the Fox Float X2 or maybe other shocks, definitely let me know in the comments. And the question of the day for this video is, what shock are you running and why? And then to follow up with that, what shock are you looking to maybe change in the future? So, hey, thanks for watching this video, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited for what this year has to bring. If you can see, I've got a lot of parts on my bench, meaning that I actually don't have a bike right now. But I hope that changes, and we're going to be talking about that in a future video. I'm actually bike shopping. So, again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.